3B, we're going to look at factoring quadratics. So that's things that have x squared and 3 terms. So again, a review from Algebra 1. Okay, so we're trying to factor something like this, x squared plus 7x plus 10. Okay, I like to use a little x as like a visual. Again, if you learned how to do this in Algebra 1 perfectly and you don't need that, totally fine. As long as we're getting correct answers, I'm good with it. So we're going to factor x squared plus 7x plus 10. So my answer is going to be 2 different sets of parentheses. And there's going to be an x in each of those parentheses. Okay, then we're going to solve the x. So I want factors of c. Okay, so this is b is the middle term, the x, the coefficient of the x, and then c is the constant or the number that's at the end. So I want factors of c, so things that multiply to c and add to b. So 2 numbers that multiply to 10 and add to 7. Okay, so those 2 numbers would be positive 5 and positive 2. 5 times 2 is 10, 5 plus 2 is 7. So then I just fill those factors in my parentheses. X plus 5, x plus 2. Okay, those are the easy ones when there's no number out in front of the x squared. The ones that might get a little bit more difficult are when we put a number out in front of the x squared. So we call that coefficient a, and so these are factoring things when a is not equal to 1, so when there's a number out there. So in this case, 7x squared minus 2x minus 9. That is what we're going to factor. And we have a little trick here that we have to do first. So we have to take this 7 and multiply it by c. So we're going to multiply it by negative 9. So 7 times negative 9 is negative 63. So I'm looking for factors of negative 63, or numbers that multiply, and I get negative 63 as my answer. And when they add, I get negative 2 as my answer. Okay, so I want you to pause here and figure out those numbers. So you should have negative 9 and positive 7. If I multiply those two, I get negative 63. If I add them, I get negative 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that original expression that they had me factor, and I'm going to split the middle term. I'm going to split the negative 2x into negative 9x and positive 7x. So now I have 7x squared minus 9x plus 7x minus 9. So I split the negative 2 apart into negative 9 and positive 7. And then we factor this by grouping. Okay, that's what we practiced last class. So I want the greatest common factor of each group. So 7x squared minus 9x, the GCF there is x. So if I factor out an x, I am left with 7x minus 9. 7x minus 9, my greatest common factor there is just 1. Alright, I can't really factor anything out. Okay, and so then my final answer, one set of parentheses is the inside, the 7x minus 9 part, and the second part is the outside, so that would be x plus 1. Alright, and that's it for our review on factoring quadratics. Make sure anything here you didn't understand, you put a big star by it so you can ask me when you get to class.